Karen called cops on my farm for no reason. She found out real quick that was a mistake. Have you ever had someone call the police on you for absolutely no reason, simply out of spite or a misguided sense of superiority on your own property? The smell of freshly turned earth and the cheerful bleating of my rescue goats were the symphony of my mornings at Hope Springs Animal Sanctuary. It wasn't just a farm. It was a passion project, a haven for abandoned and abused farm animals, providing them with a safe, loving home and a second chance at life. We relied heavily on community donations and volunteer efforts. My property lines, marked by a sturdy, well-maintained fence, encompassed a generous acreage, well away from any residential developments. I, Clara Jensen, a former veterinary technician, dedicated my life to these animals and the quiet, rural peace of my sanctuary. Then came Karen, not with a donation, but with the blare of sirens. I was in the middle of feeding my elderly miniature horse, Peanut, when two county sheriff's patrol cars pulled up my long, gravel driveway. Two deputies stepped out, looking uncomfortable, followed by a woman I immediately recognized as Brenda Albright, the notoriously aggressive president of the Rosewood Estates HOA, a new, upscale community that had recently sprung up on the far side of the valley, a good 3 miles from my sanctuary. "Officer," Brenda shrieked, pointing dramatically at my barn. "This woman is running an unlicensed menagerie. The farm animal odors are drifting into our beautiful Rosewood Estates. Her rustic barn is an eyesore, and her excessive animals are attracting vermin. This is a clear nuisance violation and a public health hazard. I demand you issue citations and shut down this entire operation immediately." The main conflict, utterly audacious and deeply personal, was laid bare. Brenda, armed with baseless accusations, a profound lack of understanding, and the shocking misuse of law enforcement, was attempting to shut down my legitimate animal sanctuary, a property entirely outside her HOA's jurisdiction. Her demands were not only ludicrous, but rooted in a profound disdain for rural life and an obsessive need for control, treating my humanitarian work as a personal affront to her luxury lifestyle. Her attitude was one of blatant contempt, believing her personal preferences granted her the right to intrude and impose rules on sovereign land. I stared at the deputies, then at Brenda, a slow, simmering anger starting to boil. "Ma'am," I said, my voice dangerously calm, "you are mistaken. This is Hope Springs Animal Sanctuary, a fully licensed and inspected nonprofit. We are not, nor have we ever been, part of your HOA. My property lines are clearly marked, and we adhere to all county agricultural and animal welfare regulations. And as for these officers," I paused, my gaze sharp, "they have no jurisdiction here for an HOA matter. I even offered to show them my state nonprofit registration, my county permits, and my recent health inspection reports, all spotless." Brenda, however, merely scoffed, waving a dismissive hand at the deputies. "Officers, she's resisting. She's clearly running some kind of backyard zoo. The HOA has legal precedents for nuisance abatement when a property negatively impacts the community's quality of life. Issue the citations now, or I'll report you to the county commissioner." Her tone was chillingly arrogant, her eyes holding a glint of perverse pleasure, as if she reveled in her perceived power to command law enforcement. The deputies, clearly uncomfortable and looking at each other nervously, still seemed pressured by Brenda's relentless bluster. They began to ask for my identification, despite the clear lack of any legitimate complaint. I calmly provided it, but refused to engage further with Brenda. Brenda, enraged by my calm defiance, then escalated her audacity into a direct, shocking act of sabotage. As I stood there, refusing to engage, she marched over to a newly installed automatic water trough, specifically designed for my recovering goats, and, with a vicious kick, she smashed the delicate sensor array, causing water to spray everywhere and disabling the vital, automated hydration system. Then, with a sneer, she tossed a handful of toxic, non-organic fertilizer pellets directly into my main vegetable garden plot, where I grew specialized feed for animals with digestive issues. It was a calculated, malicious act designed to harm my animals, cripple my sanctuary, and destroy my ability to care for them. Right after Brenda's act of destruction, a crucial twist unfolded from an unexpected source. My youngest volunteer, Leo, a brilliant high schooler who spent his afternoons designing smart farm solutions for the sanctuary, ran up, his face grim. He'd been testing a new, motion-activated, solar-powered security camera system for the main barn and had inadvertently captured the entire incident. "Clara," he gasped, showing me his tablet. "I got it all." She kicked the waterer. And then, she threw something into the garden. His footage, shockingly clear, showed Brenda's explicit acts, her triumphant smirk, and her distinct, loud declaration. "That'll teach her to run a smelly farm next to our luxury homes." His camera, equipped with advanced audio, also picked up her distinct, high-pitched cackle. The larger consequence of Brenda's actions became terrifyingly clear. The specialized feed I grew in that garden, and the precisely regulated water supply from that trough, were vital for my two oldest rescue llamas, Lola and Larry, who were enrolled in a federally funded therapeutic animal program for children with severe developmental disabilities. Their unique, gentle nature and the specific diet were crucial for their health and the children's progress. Her deliberate destruction of the water system and poisoning of the feed wasn't just a petty act of vandalism. It directly jeopardized a critical public health initiative, threatening the well-being of vulnerable children and setting back months of vital therapeutic work. Her petty vendetta had escalated into a direct assault on the welfare of disabled children, elevating her personal malice to a matter of profound humanitarian significance. Armed with Leo's irrefutable video and the furious director of the state's therapeutic animal program, I decided this wouldn't be handled quietly. I didn't just countersue. I immediately called my board of directors, which included several influential community leaders and the local news. Brenda, radiating her usual icy confidence, stood defiantly as the deputies awkwardly tried to write out citations. "Officers," she declared, puffing out her chest. "Are these trivialities almost done? My time is very valuable." "Actually, Ms. Albright," I retorted, my voice cutting through her bluster, amplified by the news cameras that had just arrived. "Your time is about to become very valuable to the police." I then projected Leo's video footage onto a large, portable screen. The raw, unedited video of Brenda's malicious acts played for all to see. Her violent kick, her sneer as she poisoned my plants, her triumphant cackle. The deputies looked aghast, and the assembled news crew gasped. Brenda's face went from smug confidence to utter, white-faced terror. "That's manipulated. That child is lying. This is a malicious attack on my character and the HOA's integrity," she shrieked, desperately trying to manipulate the situation, her voice shrill and breaking. She started pointing fingers, trying to blame Leo, me, anyone but herself. Just as her tirade reached its peak, the silence was shattered by the distinct wail of additional sirens. More sheriff's vehicles, but also a sleek black SUV marked State Attorney General's Office, Environmental Crimes Unit, pulled up. Out of the lead vehicle stepped a grim-faced prosecutor, followed by the head of the local animal control and the furious director of the Children's Therapeutic Animal Program. The program director spoke first, his voice cold and cutting. "Ms. Albright, your actions have directly jeopardized Lola and Larry, two therapeutic llamas vital to our program for children with severe developmental disabilities. This is an act of extreme animal cruelty and an attack on vulnerable children. My organization will be pursuing the maximum charges against you." The state attorney general's prosecutor stepped forward. "And Ms. Albright, we've also been investigating reports of widespread environmental violations and financial irregularities within the Rosewood Estates HOA, specifically regarding the unauthorized use of restricted pesticides on HOA common areas, illegal dumping of waste, and the fraudulent collection of environmental impact fees. Your documented act of poisoning this organic farm, which is a protected agricultural zone, and destroying vital equipment, aligns perfectly with these ongoing investigations. Furthermore, we have evidence of significant sums of HOA funds being diverted to offshore accounts linked to your shell corporations, ostensibly for environmental beautification projects that never materialized." A nervous murmur rippled through the gathered Rosewood Estates residents, who had followed the commotion, as one stammered to the prosecutor. She told us the environmental fees were for our new community nature trail. We had no idea the money was going to her husband's landscaping company." It was a chilling revelation. Brenda wasn't just a busybody. She was a criminal mastermind, systematically defrauding her own residents, engaging in widespread environmental pollution, and attempting to destroy a legitimate nonprofit for her personal gain, with the nuisance complaint merely a cover for her grand scheme. A past incident, whispered among her former colleagues, revealed that Brenda had been previously fired from a municipal waste management company for systematic misdirection of hazardous waste funds. The consequences for Brenda Albright were immediate and utterly devastating. She was arrested by the sheriff and the state attorney general's agents on multiple charges, including felony animal cruelty, criminal trespass, environmental contamination, attempted fraud, and later, as the full extent of the fraud was uncovered, for massive embezzlement, wire fraud, and racketeering. The Rosewood Estates HOA was placed under immediate state and federal oversight, its assets frozen, and a full forensic audit exposed tens of millions in stolen funds, a systematic scheme orchestrated by Brenda and her network. Her carefully cultivated image as the benevolent community leader shattered into irreparable pieces. The HOA residents she had once intimidated and defrauded now turned on her, furious at being manipulated and exploited, their HOA funds stolen, and their properties facing environmental liabilities due to her actions. Her social circles, built on an illusion of wealth and influence, abandoned her completely, unwilling to be associated with such public disgrace. Her vast real estate holdings, her fortune, her status, her perceived power all confiscated as part of the ongoing investigation and subsequent lawsuits. She lost everything: her freedom, her fortune, and her reputation. The ultimate irony was that her audacious attempt to shut down my animal sanctuary led to the complete unraveling of her vast, illegal enterprise. As for Hope Springs Animal Sanctuary, it thrived. Peanut and the llamas were safe, the water trough repaired, and the organic garden carefully decontaminated and replanted. The sanctuary received a surge of new donations, volunteers, and national attention. The satisfaction was immense, watching her literal and figurative empire crumble before her eyes, a quiet triumph of compassion and justice over arrogant cruelty and rampant criminality. What's your take on this? When someone so brazenly abuses power, engages in animal cruelty, environmental contamination, and attempts to shut down a vital nonprofit under the guise of community standards, does their complete and utter downfall truly serve justice? Or is there a point where the consequences become too extreme?